Welcome to Road to Redemption, a show sharing powerful life testimonies, giving hope to those on their own road to redemption.
Well, here at Destiny Radio, we love hearing stories and sharing stories, and this show right now is Road to Redemption, which is exactly that. It's an amazing opportunity for us to get to share some of these powerful life testimonies that give hope. And today, I have the Landphairs in the studio with me. How you guys doing today?
Very good.
Hi.
Awesome. Why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners real quick?
I'm Doug Landphair, and this is my wife,
Jean. Hello.
Awesome. Hi, Dean. Hey, it's so good to meet you. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and we've had to reschedule a few times with you guys, but we got you here.
Yeah,
We're doing it.
It's good to be here.
And I've gotten to know you guys a little bit over a few years. When did y'all move to the Destin area?
We moved here from Christiana, Tennessee, almost 2 years ago. Would have been July 2020.
Wow, was it really that long ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right
Time
after
flies.
the pandemic.
Well, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves, your story, your lives. Let's go back to how did you guys meet?
Well, we both attended Ottawa University in Ottawa, Kansas. And we were serving on a mission team. This is a team of 6 kids that were sent out every weekend to churches where the pastor was on vacation or the pastor had left, gone to another church, and they were without a pastor. And so we would prepare a worship time of worship. Somebody would speak, I would lead worship, and we were in a meeting preparing for this church that we were going to go to, and I looked over to my across the room. There was this young lady.
You're like, who is that?
And she made the mistake of laughing at my jokes.
Okay.
and so
It was all over for him
it was all over.
right then.
So we
She
dated.
thinks I'm funny. I'm going to marry that girl.
Yeah. We dated off and on for 6 to 7 months or so, and then we decided that we wanted to get married. And that was 49 years ago.
Wow.
Almost.
It'll
Yeah.
be 49 years in September that
Yeah.
we got married.
And then since then, it's just been 49 years of absolute bliss and no problems. and
No.
If that's what you want to believe.
No, I
maybe.
wouldn't,
Okay.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, okay.
We want to be truthful here. No, but we had 2 awesome kids, and I think that's probably one of the reasons we're here to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about this. So 2 kids.
Yeah.
Okay. And how old were your kids?
Well, Jason was 35 when he passed away, when he died.
7 years ago.
And then
in January.
Meredith, our daughter, is 32 and lives in the Fort Worth area.
Okay.
So what happened, it was on January 29th, 2015. I remember very clearly because I was upstairs working in my office, and I heard Jean's phone ring, and then I heard this terrified voice from her saying, "Doug, come down here."
Yeah. That was the phone call that no parent ever wants to get. Our son was deployed in Afghanistan. Got the call about around 11 o'clock on a Thursday morning. The lady on the other line said, "Mrs. Landphair, I'm here with your daughter-in-law. She's asked me to call you. I'm so sorry to tell you that your son was shot in Afghanistan this morning." And, of course, I was devastated. I couldn't believe it. Our family, nothing tragic had ever happened in our family before. I'm just like, God, how could this happen? This can't be real. It was just, I couldn't, it was so shocking.
Right.
And so, of course, I called Doug down, and when I told him, he just collapsed to the floor, just motionless, wordless. And I was just sobbing hysterically. And then so I said to the lady, "Tell Natasha," that's our daughter-in-law. Jason was married to Natasha, and they had 2 little girls. I said, "Tell Natasha we'll be there as soon as we can get there." We were in Tennessee, and they were in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So we made a few phone calls, let people know what was going on, threw some clothes in a suitcase, and we're on the road. And, that started our grief journey. And so,
Yeah, the hardest phone calls I had to make were to our daughter.
Yeah.
She and Jason, growing up, they were 9 years apart. Almost.
But you weren't. She had already received the call.
No,
No.
our
I'm sorry,
daughter.
your daughter. So,
Yes,
so
our
the sister.
daughter, Meredith.
Got it.
Jason's
What was her name?
sister, Meredith.
Meredith. Okay.
Jason's sister.
And
Not your daughter-in-law.
no, not
Okay.
our daughter-in-law, our daughter Meredith. Growing up, Meredith knew all the right buttons to push to irritate Jason. And so they did not get along very well. But years later, Jason made the decision he wanted to get along. He wanted to love his sister, love on his sister. And they became very close. And so
Wow.
making that phone call to Meredith was probably the most difficult phone call I made.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would just crushed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was living out in New York all by herself, being the independent career woman,
Yes.
making it in a difficult environment. And yeah, she didn't have family around to support her.
And so her company was just great. They paid for her ticket to come down to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and be with us. And they really took good care of her.
Wow.
And so we drove about 8 hours to Fayetteville to be with Natasha and the kids. And we
Can't imagine. That's got to be the worst drive ever.
Oh.
I mean, just thoughts, and you don't even want to talk. You don't. There's no words.
Yeah. Well, my instinct was we got to take care of Natasha and her girls.
Yeah, you kicked into parent mode, caretaker mode.
Yes, because I just knew she'd be devastated,
Yeah.
and I mean.
And how old were the girls?
They were just 2 and 3
Okay.
at the time.
Well, okay,
I mean, they were oblivious. They thought it was a big party. People were coming and going to the house
Right.
all the time. Bringing food, bringing condolences, taking care of things, and boy, they just thought it was a big party.
Yeah.
And they were going. Natasha and Jason had a very strong social network there, and so anytime Natasha couldn't deal with the girls or we were busy, she made a phone call, somebody came and picked them up, and they got to go play with friends. When we wanted them back, we made a phone call, they came back. And I mean, people just really surrounded us and took care of us, and so the little girls thought it was a big party.
Yeah,
They didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah. Thank God for covenant friendships like that. People that
we
step
were
in.
so
I
loved
don't
on.
know how a person would make it through something like this
Sure.
without friends and family.
Yeah.
You've been through that kind of. I know Dewey's been through that sort of thing. A lot of our people listening here have been through that. And you just can't do that on your own.
And it's the phone calls. Even if it's just a simple text message, and there's nothing that they're gonna say that's just gonna make me feel better. And like, oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. This is,
Right.
this is a good day. But something as simple as like, I can't imagine how hard this is. I'm here for you, praying for you, and like it just means so much. Because I do believe that. I believe that person is also, crushed with me, and just knowing that is helpful.
It is.
You're not alone
it
in
is.
this.
Nobody can fix it, but what they can do is share your pain.
Right.
Sit with you and be present with you in your pain. And somehow that divides that negative emotion and lightens your pain just a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
And so just that act of being present with your pain, that's the only thing really that matters, that helps.
Well, I want to go back to something that you mentioned, but before we do, I do want to just tell you guys, thank you on behalf of your son for for his service, and I think it's interesting here on the tail of Memorial Day. You guys are being interviewed. I think that's good, and we've tried to do this, like I said a few times. It's just kind of cool how things fall into place like that. But I know a lot of people were being remembered on that day, and I'm sure you were remembering your son on that day as well. And so just to give his all for this great country that we live in. And it means a lot to us and to me. And so thank you. But you said something earlier. You said that it began that grief journey. We're all about journeys on the road to redemption here. So what does that mean? What does that look like? What do you mean by that?
So Doug and I facilitate a grief support group through Destiny right now.
Small group.
It's a small group. It's a small group through Destiny Worship Center. And we started this a couple of years ago after we had gotten to a place where our grief journey was not so devastating and painful anymore, so that we could comfort other people with the comfort that we've received. And the journey, it's just a journey of really processing emotions. At least that's how I look at it. Maybe other people look at it differently, but it's a journey of processing emotions. There's so much intense, deep, hurtful, negative emotion. And if we just keep it in, it damages it can damage us. It can damage our body, our mind, our spirit, our emotions. And so we have to process it. We have to get it out in some way. And different people do it differently. I cried buckets and buckets of tears. I cried so much. I got sick of crying. And poor Doug, he got a lot of wet shoulders. I cried on his shoulder a lot. And he was so good to just be quiet, be still, just hold me, just let me cry, and just be that strength and comfort for me. And that's what I needed. And so there's a lot to say about how to grieve in healthy ways. We take 13 weeks to do it in our small group. There is a lot to know about healthy grieving, and I don't feel like we've been taught really very well in our culture how to grieve in healthy ways. We have one person, for example, in our group that the death happened, 6, 8, 9 years ago, and just January they just started really grieving. There's other things that had gotten in the way,
Right.
And so everybody's journey is really different. I mean, that's okay.
You're right.
That's some people hold it in for one reason or another, and something happens to just trigger it, and suddenly, okay, this is the time now. I guess I'm going to grieve. I don't have any choice.
Yep.
It's coming.
Both of us, both Gene and I, are psych majors, and we had gone through the steps of grieving. It was a small group we went to when we were living in Idaho, and so we were well aware of the steps of grieving. Starts out with disbelief, anger. There's several different models, but it's totally different when you go through it yourself. And Gene and I grieved differently. In fact, Gene got kind of irritated when I wasn't showing a lot of emotion. And so we went to visit some friends of ours who had lost a child of theirs about a year before we did. And they confirmed, we grieve differently as well.
Sure.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
So the thing of it is, you need to grieve.
That's
you
right.
need to process it.
Good. You're right, Doug. I think you're right. And you said something, Gene, about it's not really talked about much, in this world. And I even think about that in the church, just in church in general. It's not something that's talked about often, and I, you hear that phrase, faith over feelings. And I've always just struggled with that because I'm like, why can't both exist? Like, why can't my faith strengthen my feelings, and my feelings also be intertwined with my faith and what I believe in God? Because I believe that I can believe in God and be hurting because of something that I experienced at the same time. And it doesn't diminish one or the other to me. God understands us.
Yes.
And he's in our pain. In fact, it even says that he's near the brokenhearted.
Yes.
God created feelings. There are messages for us in our feelings. We need to pay attention to them. Not that that's the only thing upon which we base our decisions, but it needs to be taken into account. I went through a time when I was mad at God. I went through it twice, I think. Just mad. I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who would let my son die. I prayed for his safety. My son was a wonderful, godly man. Many people knew him and loved him. Lots of people prayed for his safety all the time. And he protected him for 9 years in the service. He even was wounded once and fully recovered. So I'm like, yeah, that's proof. God's going to protect him. And so he protected him until suddenly one day he didn't.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Right. That's not fair.
And I was just so mad at God for a while. And I didn't want to pray. I didn't want to worship. But it didn't last for long because God is such a big part of my life. I really realized I don't want to do life without God.
Yeah.
And so I come back to him, and I think that happened a couple of times. And I finally, I guess, got to a point where I accepted the mystery of God. That he's bigger than me. He knows everything. He's all powerful. He knows the end of my story. I don't. And I have to trust him. I have to trust that he knows, and in the big picture, it's going to be okay. And there's a mystery about God. Yeah. He's too big for me to understand, and I'm okay with that.
Well, we are in today. That's all we got. I know what's happening today. I'm worried about tomorrow just because I'm a human being, that we're anxious about things that we haven't faced yet. And we're also like thinking about the past, and we're a little bit living in that as well. But God is in all of it.
Yeah.
So he's in our tomorrow. He created our yesterdays.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, I know what you're saying, because it's kind of like how I feel right now today. God, I know that it's going to work out because I believe in you. But right now, that's a really hard pill to swallow.
And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. People have been angry with God before, and they're going to be angry with him. He's got broad shoulders.
Yeah.
It's okay
Sure.
to say, Father, I am angry.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that goes back to that our feelings are okay. God created them. He understands them. It's like when I was touring, and I'd it was a Christian tour, so everybody needs to be peppy 24/7, and they're like, "Well, Jesus, yeah."
How'd that work out for you?
Well, and I came off the bus, and I was just like, "Hey, how you doing, tour manager? How you doing, Nate?" I was like, "Honestly, I'm kind of sad and lonely." And he's like, "No, man, you're about to take the stage and worship God and enhance the kingdom." I was like, "Yeah, but I haven't seen my wife in like a month, so it would be weird if I wasn't a little lonely and a little sad." We should, some of these things, like, we can use them, and they can be good, and they can be helpful. And I tell you this, when I saw my wife again, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a reason too. And I want to ask you about that, because there is a scripture that says that he makes all things work together for our good. How in the world can something like what you've walked through, maybe you haven't even seen it yet, experienced it yet, but have you seen any glimmers of that where it's like, okay, God, wow, even something as horrible, tragic as death, like, I'm seeing what you're doing here. Have you guys experienced anything like that so far?
Oh, in a big way. Yeah. Very first thing that happened where we started to see God at work is when Jason died, Natasha, his wife, told people, don't waste money on flowers, send money to our missionaries that our church supports in Jason's memory. And someone gave $150,000 in memory of Jason to their church mission program.
Wow.
And they used it to minister to a group of people in northern Iraq. I want to say they're the Yazidi people. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it was kind of like a brand of Islam that the ISIS fighters did not agree with. And I don't know if you remember when ISIS was overrunning Iraq.
Oh, yeah.
So they were persecuting this group of people. And so Jason and Natasha's church used that money to send out missionaries to witness to and minister to that group of people. And thousands of people became believers, were baptized, many house churches started. So that was amazing. But when you know the backstory, you see the miracle. The backstory is Jason had a heart for Arabic peoples. He spent 10 years learning Arabic so that he could minister. One of the main reasons he was a medic in a Green Beret in the Army was to learn skills to go into closed countries and be a missionary to the Arab peoples, and which is another reason I always thought, God has great things for him. He's going to protect him. And here he was cut down in his prime. But Jason's dream was realized in his death.
Wow. That is powerful.
It's so powerful. It is. I mean, God is just amazing. Another thing that happened is my daughter, she's, like I said, about 10 years younger. Jason was sort of raised as the only child anyway, and always felt like our family was so little. And then when her only brother died, she was like, just felt so alone. Like we was just a little family. There's just only 3 of us left. Well, Natasha is our daughter-in-law is part of a big family. There's 5 kids there. And her family really just enveloped us, and we became part of them. They become part of us. And Natasha's siblings and their spouses made a conscious choice to reach out to Meredith and be brothers and sisters to her.
That's it, yeah.
And they started a
Marco Polo.
Marco Polo. The girls did. There's 5 girls, including my daughter. So now she has 4 sisters. And all of their husbands are like part of, to the point where when she got married in Texas last December, all of those 4 women and their spouses came from Alaska, which is where they live, to Texas to be in her wedding party.
Wow, unbelievable.
I know. So
There's a scripture that says that guy will set the lonely in a family.
yeah,
And that doesn't have anything to do with biology. It could.
Right.
But, we adopted my son, so he literally did it. But it's typically a covenant relationship. I wanted to ask you before we run out of time, just real quick, because this is so powerful. Somebody that's walking through something similar, maybe it's not, a fallen soldier, but maybe it's just a family member that's passed away recently. Anything that can be helpful to them right now if they're listening.
Well, don't try to do it on your own. Recognize that this is a huge loss, and we grieve because we've loved, and it makes it'd be great to get into a small group.
I love that.
join our grief share group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In our journey, a few months after Jason died, we were invited to attend a grief share group there in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where we live and where we were living. And it's a 13-week session. And then when we moved down here about 2 years ago, we went through Destiny's Next Steps program. And as part of that program, you find out where your skills and interests lie. And we met with our leader, and it just became very clear to me leading a grief share group was what we were here to do. And so we just finished our third grief share semester.
It's amazing.
And Lord willing, we'll do it again this next fall. If you've had a loss, grief share it's a great way to be with people who've suffered similar losses, but also understand this process of grieving. A lot of people say, right after my loved one died, my brain was mush. Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
Because
I've been there.
Yeah,
exactly.
For the first, 3 or 4 months, it was just, I didn't know really what I was doing. And it just helps to surround yourself with people who have had a similar loss.
So, and also our story would not be complete about how God has worked if we don't talk about David Buchanan. God brought him into our lives, and our sweet daughter-in-law, Natasha, she was so devastated when Jason died and moved back to Alaska to be with her family to help care for her girls, because she was just not even really very functional for about the first year. And she met David Buchanan and asked us if we were okay dating him, and we met him. We said, yeah, sure. If you've got a chance to love again, go for it. And so they got engaged and got married, and he was just what she needed.
Yeah.
A godly man led by the Holy Spirit and a strong leader. Well, Natasha was so worn down by being alone and making all the decisions by herself. She was so happy to have a strong leader, come alongside her to be a partner. Natasha had always wanted to design houses from the time she was a little girl. And guess what? David is a builder.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So now she designs homes for him and works with him, and he wanted a partner. He did not like doing business alone. He wanted a partner. And David, he was older when they got married and never had children, and thought kind of maybe the opportunity for a family passed him by. He really wanted a family. Well, he had a ready-made family. He had 2 little girls, and he adopted them. And he's raised them as his own and just been a wonderful husband to them. And
Wow.
I mean, and we love him and he loves us, and we really have a lot of honor and respect for each other.
They're a beautiful family.
They are. When just before they got married, I said to David, "You're taking a lot on. I hope you have broad shoulders." And he said, "I do." And he does.
Yeah.
He's done a great job with them.
Yep.
We're so happy he's part of our lives.
And if you saw them, they're just so joyful and just a beautiful family. You wouldn't think like, man, they've walked through some stuff, and you don't know every day who you see, and like that person has seen it. I just want to encourage again, anybody listening, do not. I think the theme today is kind of a don't walk this alone. And if that's interesting to you, we actually have Small Group Expo coming up. Get in a small group. Go to their grief share small group. And my mom's been such a recipient, and it's meant a lot to her from that group. So just having walked through some stuff ourselves, and so I know that it's powerful firsthand. And so thank you guys for that. And again, thank you as we're wrapping it up for your son and his ultimate sacrifice for this country and for this great country that we have and the freedom we have. And Scripture obviously says that no greater love than a man that would lay down his life for someone else, and he did that. So thank you guys.
He truly did.
Yes, sir. Well, we just want to encourage everybody out there, get in a small group, pick up the Bible, even if it's a Bible app, start reading it. It'll start encouraging you and speaking to you today. Find a local church and get plugged in. And you can also reach out to us, contact@destinyradio.live. We'd love to hear from you. Doug and Jean, thank you guys so much for sharing your story with us.
Sure. Love to be here.
All right, we'll have you back. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right.
You've been listening to Road to Redemption, sharing powerful life testimonies, giving hope to those on their own road to redemption. If you have any comments or questions, we would love to connect with you. You can reach out to us at destinyradio.live. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week on Road to Redemption.